I wonder what could be keeping him so long. Here he comes. Hello, Jack. I was just beginning to think you were lost.
Hey, Jack. It's me.
Hello, Pete. What brings you around this time of night?
Oh, I was just leaving Lawson when the operator stopped me. Give me this for Jack. Seen your campfire burning. Reckon I'd bring it right over.
Well, many thanks. Care to sit down and rest a bit?
Oh, much obliged, but I reckon I'll travel along. Ain't slept none to speak of in the past few nights. I have to be up at sunrise. That fool town of Lawson sure does keep you up nights. Claim panning out as good as ever.
Oh, better every day. This morning we took a sample from the upper end, but we haven't touched it yet.
Oh.
It looks good, but we haven't panned it.
You always ought to get rich.
Nah.
You know how to keep money. Now, me and money never could get on no way. They cleaned me out in Lawson this time. I reckon they'll clean me again the next time. City sure hell that way. Adios.
Goodbye. Poor Pete. Same old story, I guess. Been bucking the faro banks again. I wonder what this is. Jack has had no correspondence in the 5 years I've been with him. Maybe something important to do with our mine. I'd better open it, I guess. He won't mind anyway. I am waiting. Come. No name signed. And it's from New York, too. Well, it's too many for me. I give it up. Must be that fool operator got his names mixed up. I'd hate to see Jack obey any summons like this. You see, Jack is about all I've got in the world these days, and I'd hate to see him leave just, when we struck it rich. Must be that this wire is a mistake. Now, if only the upper end of the claim is as rich as what we've been working, and here he comes. Welcome, wanderer. I was beginning to think you were lost.
Yeah, one of the horses slipped his hobbles, and I had quite a hunt for him. Finally found him wallowing down by the spring, as if water were the commonest thing in this part of Arizona, the fool beast.
Oh, well. It is strange we should find water out here where the map says there isn't any. It's one blessing we've found in this land God forgot.
Yes. But we have small cause to kick about this lonely hole after all. Any country is God's country to a man if there is gold in it and he finds it. And there's gold here. We found it. So long live the desert, say I.
Those were my sentiments. It seems our ship has finally come in here on the rim of the world. The luck was bound to change. We've had our fair share of the bad variety, just missing every jumping off point from South Africa to Alaska. We've taken our hard knocks with the imitation of a laugh at least, and we've been good pals ever since that day in the Transvaal where you hauled me out of that river, saved my life, and our friendship began. Now you needn't try and stop me from expressing my gratitude. I haven't forgotten that day, and I never will.
I'm gonna go check what that prospect we took at the other end of the claim looks like.
Go on.
What do you think of that?
Of course, gold. Just as I expected, the upper end of the claim is just as rich as it is down here.
There's over a quarter of an ounce here at least. That's $5 a pan. That's better than we've ever paid at any point down here since we made the strike 4 months ago. I tell you, this claim, it's too big to handle on our own. One of us, we gotta go east, organize a company.
Well, then it'll have to be you. I'm too old. Besides, I never cared much for civilization, and civilization never cared over much for me. You seem to be hankering after the East quite a bit the last month or so. Getting tired of the company here, I suppose.
No, that isn't so after all the years we've been pals and all we've been through together.
Well, what is the attraction the effete East has to offer then? It's a woman, I suppose.
An angel, rather.
Well, they're all angels. At first.
Good.
The only trouble is their angelic attributes lack staying qualities. You'll find them hard to prove by my experience.
You're a disgusting cynic, and I refuse to argue.
Nah.
We've never been able to agree on that subject. I'm gonna go hunt out that bottle we've been carrying about for so long, and we will toast to the mine and future prosperity. Oh, here it is. I think this is a proper occasion for celebration. Two prodigals welcome the fatted calf. Well, let's make it a christening also. Here's to the Yvette mine.
Why Yvette?
I know it sounds like a rather frivolous name for a mine, but I have a hunch. There's a romance back to it. My romance. That was her name. One rarely speaks of such things. I've never told you before, but I will now if you care to hear it. I've just been out of mining school a short time. I've been prospecting around in the mountains of Peru, hoping to hit a bonanza there. At the time of which I speak, I had returned to re-outfit in a small mining camp at the frontier of Ecuador. It was there that I met her. She was the wife of a broken-down mining engineer from the States. According to all accounts, he was a drunken brute who left her alone most of the time and only lived from one drunk to another. Personally, I never saw him. It was probably better that I didn't. See, I fell in love with her on the spot. I thought of the way he treated her made my blood boil.
What was the name of that mining camp? I've been in that country some time myself.
San Sebastian, do you know?
Yes, I know it. Go on.
I loved her. Kind of the corrupt environment of a mining camp, she seemed like a lily growing in a field of rank weeds. I longed to take her away from all that atmosphere of sordid sin and suffering, away from that drunken beast of a husband who was steadily ruining that young life and driving her to desperation. I overstayed my time. I should have been back in the mountains. I went to see her often. He was always away, it seemed. Finally, people began to talk. Then I realized that the time had come, and I told her that I loved her. I shall never forget her face. She looked at me with great calm eyes, but her lips trembled as she said, "I know you love me, and I love you too. But you must go away, and we must never speak to each other again. I am his wife, and I must keep my pledge."
You lie!
What's the matter?
No, nothing. Never mind. It's just my sore spot, the virtue of women. I haven't seen much of it in my mining camp experiences, and your heroine to me seems too impossible.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought so if you could have seen her. Here's a picture she sent me a year ago. Look at it. You think a woman with a face like that could be the regular mining camp kind?
My wife. She has not changed.
Changed? Who, do you know her?
No! Of course not. She just reminds me of someone I knew a long time ago.
Yuvetta's only 25. Parents were poor French people. In a fit of mistaken zeal for her welfare, they married her off to this man when she was too young to know her own mind. They thought they had made an excellent match. Immediately after they were married, he dragged her off to San Sebastian, where he was half owner of a small mine there. Seems the devil broke out in him when they were hardly settled there. I'd like to be fair to him. Maybe he knew that she could never love him, and he was trying to drown the memory of the mistake he had made. He certainly loved her in his fashion.
Yes. He must have loved her in his fashion.
Ah, I forgot. Here is proof positive of her innocence and noble-mindedness. This is a letter she wrote me and sent to me the morning I was leaving. It's only a few words. Read it, Mr. Doubting Thomas.
Her writing. I must keep my oath. I am his wife, and he needs me. To be true to myself, I must be true to him. My God, I was wrong after all. Sometime I may send for you. Goodbye. Signed, Yvette. What does she mean by that last sentence?
When I left, I gave her my address in the States. She promised she would write to me if she changed her mind, or if conditions changed.
You mean if the drunken husband died?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Well, how do you know he hasn't? Have you heard from her since?
Only the one time she sent me that picture I showed you. I received a letter in Cape Town a year ago. It had been forwarded from the States. She wrote to say that her husband had disappeared soon after I had left. No one knew where he went for sure, but the rumor was he had set out on my trail for vengeance, refusing to believe her innocence. I'm sorry he never found me.
Where is she now?
Living with her parents in New York. She wrote to say that she would wait 1 year longer. If he did not return to her by then, she would become legally free of him and would send for me. That year is up today, but I have received no word.
My God, I cannot. Cheer up. Here's a surprise for you. Read this. Pete brought it on his way in from Lawson. I opened it by accident, thinking it had something to do with the mine. I've completely forgot about it until now.
It's too good to be true. Tell me I'm not dreaming.
Congratulations.
Oh, never mind, old pal. I won't be gone long, and when I come back, I'll bring her with me.
No, you mustn't do that. I'll manage all right. Besides, one of us should stay out east for when the work here really starts.
When can I get a train?
If you ride hard and leave right away, you can make it into Lawson for the limited at 3 in the morning.
My horse is hobbled to the mouth of the canyon.
So, I have found him after all these years, and I cannot even hate him. What tricks fate plays with us. That first day when we met, I noticed he had the same name as the man I was looking for, but he seemed such a boy to me, and my heart went out to him so strongly that I never once, for an instant, harbored the idea that he was the same John Sloan that I had sworn to kill. Of course, he never knew my right name. I've half a mind to tell him. I wonder what he would say. But no. What's the use? Why should I mar his happiness? In this affair, I alone am to blame, and I must suffer. As I listened to his story tonight, until no doubt remained in my mind that he was the John Sloan I was looking for, my hand went for my knife, and all that old hatred inside of me flared up again. And then I saw his face, as it looked that day in the Transvaal when he hauled me out of the river and saved my life, at risk of his own. I could almost hear his voice in my ear as it sounded that day when death was so near. You're all right, old pal. You're all right. And just in that moment, all that old hatred died out of me forever. My God, what a fool I've been. Yvette was true to me all along, in spite of what I was. God bless him for telling me so. God grant they may both be happy. The only two beings I have ever loved. And I must wander on. I cannot be the ghost at their feast.
Hi, old pal. I'm sorry to leave you like this, but I've waited so long for this. You understand, don't you?
Next. God bless you both. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
God hath no greater love than this. He that giveth his friend for his wife.
The sun is sinking in the west. The cattle go down to the stream. The redwing settles in his nest. It's time for a cowboy to dream. Purple eyes in the canyon, that's where I long to be, with my three good companions, just my rifle, pony, and me. Gonna hang my sombrero on the limb of a tree. Coming home, sweetheart darling, just my rifle, pony, and me. Whippoorwill in the willow sings a sweet melody, riding to Amarillo, just my rifle, pony, and me. No more cow to be roping, no more strays will I see round the bend. She'll be waiting for my rifle, pony, and me. For my rifle, my pony, and me. Ooh. This old guitar's about as out of tune as I am. Maybe I ought to sing a little bit higher next time. Waking up at 11 ain't so bad with you in my arms. But lately I've been ruined, waking up with an empty heart. When the bars ain't open, but the night keeps dragging on, I find myself reliving all the times I steered you wrong. Stranger, please come find me, falling through it all. With a pill and a beer, rum so clear, my eyes deceive me. With the scotch knocked off and a crying cough, I'm hoping you won't leave me. Lights go down in the city, I can barely see myself. I feel the tide getting heavy, I'm too gone to ask for help. There's no wind blowing and no train to take me home. I don't know where I'm going, but that don't mean that I'm alone. Danger, please come find me, wandering down this road with a pill and beer, rum so clear my eyes deceive me. With the scotch knocked off and a crying cough, I'm hoping you won't leave me. With a pill and a beer, rum so clear my eyes deceive me. With the scotch knocked off and a crying cough, I'm hoping you won't leave me. Uh-oh. Oh. Getting right up there in those feelings now. The stars shining above me, they make me sigh. As I lay under this lonely Arizona sky, the letters that you wrote me, they drain me dry. I'm now out of whiskey and you're on my mind. 'Cause you don't love me anymore, so I'm crying on the desert floor. 'Cause you don't love me anymore, so I'm crying on the desert floor. I hope you can forgive me for all my lies. I hope he makes you happy, treats you right. There's gold inside your memories, they bring me life. It's the only fire that warms me on this cold dark night. 'Cause you don't love me anymore, so I'm crying on the desert floor. 'Cause you don't love me anymore, so I'm crying on the desert floor. I best be getting along.
I wonder what can be keeping him so long. Hello, Jack. I was just beginning to think you were lost.
It ain't Jack. It's me.
Hello, Pete. What brings you around this time of night?
Oh, I was just leaving Lawson when the operator stopped me and give me this for Jack. Seen your campfire burning, reckon I'll bring it right over.
Many thanks. Won't you sit down, rest a bit?
Oh, much obliged, but I reckon I'll travel along. Ain't slept none to speak of the past few nights. I have to be up at sunrise. Whew, that fool town of Lawson sure does keep you up nights. Claim panning out as good as ever.
Better every day.
Mm.
We took a sample from the upper end, which we haven't touched so far. It looks good, but we haven't panned it yet.
Oh, you alls ought to get rich. You know how to keep money. Now, me and money never could get on no way. They cleaned me out in Lawson this time. I'm sure they'll clean me out again the next time. City is sure hell that away. Adios.
Good night. Poor Pete. Same old story. Been bucking the Faro Bank again, I suppose. I wonder what this is. Jack has had no correspondences in the 5 years I've been with him. Maybe something important in connection with the mine. I guess I better open it. He won't mind anyway. I am waiting. Come. No name sign. Here he comes from New York, too. Well, it's too many for me. I give it up. Must be that fool operator got mixed up in his names again. I'd hate to see Jack obey any summons like this. He's about all I've got now. I'd hate to see him leave just when we struck it rich. It must be this wire's all a mistake anyway. Now, if only the upper part of the claim is as rich as that we've been working. Oh, here he comes now. Welcome, wanderer. Where have you been all this time?
One of the horses slipped his hobbles, and I had quite the hunt for him. Finally found him down by the spring, wallowing about as if water were the commonest thing in this part of Arizona, full of beasts.
It's strange that we should find water out here where the maps say there isn't any. It's the one blessing we found out here in this land God forgot. We're fools for luck for once.
Yes. But you and I have small cause to kick about this lonely hole after all. You see, any place is God's country to a man if there's gold in it and he finds it. Well, there's gold here, and we found it. So, long live the desert, say I.
Those are my sentiments.
Ah,
Sure seems as if our ship is coming at last here on the rim of the world. Whew. The luck was due to change. We've had our share of the bad variety. Just missing a strike in every jumping off point from South Africa to Alaska. We've taken our hard knocks with the imitation of a laugh at any rate, and we've been good friends ever since that day in the Transvaal 5 years ago when you hauled me out of the water, saved my life, and our friendship began. No, now you needn't try and stop me from expressing my gratitude. I haven't forgotten that day. I never will.
I'm going to take a look at that claim we took this morning. What do you think of that?
Of course. Gold. Just as I expected. The upper end of the claim is just as rich as it is down here.
That's a quarter of an ounce at least. That's $5 a pan, better than we've ever struck before in the last 4 months since we made this first strike. I tell you, this claim is too big for us to handle on our own. One of us ought to head east and organize a company.
Then it'll have to be you. I'm too old. Anyway, I never could get along with civilization, and civilization never cared over much for me. You seem to be hankering after the East quite a lot in the last month or so. You're getting tired of the company here. Eh?
No, you know that's not so after everything we've been through together and all the years we've been pals.
And what is the attraction the effete East has to offer? It's a woman, I suppose.
An angel, rather.
Yeah, they're all angels. At first. The only trouble is their angelic attributes lack staying qualities.
You know, you're a disgusting cynic, and I refuse to argue. You and I never could agree on that subject, you know that. Here. I'm gonna hunt out that bottle we've been carrying about, and we'll toast to the mine and to future prosperity. Here it is. I think now's a proper occasion for celebration. The two prodigals welcome in the fatted calf. Here's to the Yvette mine.
Why the Yvette?
I know, it's a rather frivolous sounding name for a mine, but I have a hunch. You see, there's a romance back to it. My romance. And I know one rarely speaks of such things, but I'll tell you about it, if you care to listen. Well, it was over a year before I met you, and I was prospecting about in the mountains of Peru, hoping to hit a bonanza there. And at the time I speak of, I was shortly out of mining school, and I had returned to re-outfit at a small mining camp near the frontier of Ecuador. And that's where I met her, Yvette. She was the wife of a broken down mining engineer. According to all accounts, he was a drunken brute who left her alone most of the time and only lived from one drunk to another. I never saw him, and it's probably better that I didn't. You see, I fell in love with her on the spot, and the thought of how he treated her, well, it made my blood boil.
What was the name of the mining camp you mentioned? I've spent some time in that country myself many years ago.
San Sebastian. Do you know it?
Yes, I know it. Go on.
Well, I loved her. And in the corrupt environment of a mining camp, she stood out like a lily in a field of rank weeds. I longed to take her from that atmosphere of sordid sin and suffering, from her beast of a husband who was steadily ruining that young, beautiful life and driving her to desperation. Well, I overstayed my time. I should have been up in the mountains, but I came and I saw her often. Finally, people started to talk, and I realized that the time had come, so I told her that I loved her. And I'll never forget her face. She looked at me with these great, calm eyes, but her lips trembled as she said, I know you love me. And I love you too. But you must go away, and we must never see each other again. I am his wife, and I must keep my pledge. You lie.
What? What is it? What's the matter? Nothing. Nerves, I guess. It's my sore spot. The virtue of women. I've seen but little of it in my mining camp experiences, and your heroine seems to me too impossible.
Well, you wouldn't think so if you could have seen her. Here, I got a picture. Here. Look at this. You think a woman with a face like that could be the regular mining camp kind?
My wife. She has not changed.
Changed? Who? Do you know her?
No, of course not. She reminds me of a girl I knew back in the States many years ago.
Well, Yvette is only 25. Her parents were poor French people who, in a fit of mistaken zeal for her welfare, married her to him when she was too young to know her mind. And immediately after, he took her off to San Sebastian, where he was half owner of a mine there. It seems the devil broke out in him right away, before they were even settled. You know, I'd like to be fair to him. Maybe he knew she could never love him, and he was trying to drown the memory of the mistake he'd made. He certainly loved her in his fashion.
Yes, he must have loved her in his fashion.
I forgot. I have proof positive of her innocence and noble-mindedness. Here was a letter she wrote me and sent to me the day I was leaving. It's only a few words. Read it, Mr. Doubting Thomas.
Her writing. I am his wife, and I must keep my oath. He needs me, and I must be true to him. My God, I was wrong all along. Sometime I may send for you. Goodbye. What does she mean by that last part?
Well, when I left, I gave her my address in the States. She promised she'd write to me if she changed her mind or if circumstances changed.
You mean if the drunken husband died?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Well, how do you know he has not? Have you heard from her since?
Only the one time when she sent me the picture I showed you. She wrote me, and I received it in Cape Town. It was forwarded from the States. She said her husband had disappeared shortly after I left. Nobody knew where he went. Rumor was that he had set off on my trail for vengeance, but I hope that he would find me.
Where is she now?
Living in New York with her parents. She wrote to say that she would wait 1 year longer. And if he hadn't returned to her by then, she would be legally free of him. Well, that year is up today. And I have received no word.
Here's a surprise for you. Read this. Oh, Pete brought it back from us, and before you had returned, I opened it by mistake, thinking it had something to do with the mine, and I forgot all about it.
Well, this is too good to be true. Tell me I'm not dreaming.
Congratulations.
Oh, don't worry, old pal. I won't be gone long, and when I return, I'll bring her with me.
No, better stay used for a while. I'll manage here all right. And besides, we'll need someone there when the work really starts.
When can I catch a train?
If you ride hard and start right away, you can make it in time to Lawson for the 3 a.m. limited.
My horse is... Well, let's hobble down by the canyon.
So I have found him after all these years, and I cannot even hate him. What tricks fate plays with us. He told me that day, when we first met in the Transvaal, I realized that his name was the same as the man's I was looking for, but he seemed such a boy to me, and my heart went out to him so strongly that I never for an instant harbored the idea that he could be the John Sloan I was looking for. Of course, he never knew my right name. I wonder what he would say if he knew. I've half a mind to tell him. But no, what's the use? Why should I mar his happiness? In this affair, I alone am to blame, and I must pay. As I listened to his story tonight, until no doubt in my mind remained that he was the John Sloan I was looking for, all the old hate flared up in my heart, and my hand reached for my knife. But then I remembered that day as he looked in the Transvaal after saving my life at the risk of his own. I could almost hear his words as he spoke them. That day when death was so near. You're all right, old pal. You're all right. And my hand left my knife, and all the old hate died out of me forever. I could not do it. Oh, what a fool I have been. He was true to me in spite of what I was. God bless him for telling me. God bless them both. God grant they may both be happy, the only two beings I have ever loved. And I must keep wandering on. I cannot be the ghost at their feast.
Goodbye, old pal. I am sorry to be leaving you like this, but I've waited so long. You understand?
Goodbye. God bless you both.
Goodbye.
Greater love hath no man than this, than he that giveth his friend or his wife.